All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. We are live talking about all things weather this morning. It is 11:36 on a Monday, and we're looking at right now cloudy skies, very cold. We're in the middle 30s right now. We'll break out of like 38 this afternoon, but it'll be cold all day long. We'll talk about the precip, the light rain that'll start this evening, and then that'll eventually turn over to a sleet, a wintry mix overnight. And a few snow flurries will be possible. I know a lot of people are asking about that. Before we get to that, and again, if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Join the conversation. We're talking all things weather for the next 20 minutes or so here on KENS 5 before we go live for KENS 5 News at noon. Today we start at 12:30 because of programming on CBS and driving conditions will tonight get a little difficult. Take a look. You can see this morning is fine. This afternoon's okay. But this evening is when it gets a little difficult out on the roads. Because of scattered freezing rain, when temperatures drop below 32, that'll support and be conducive for rain falling on bridges, overpasses, and then more importantly, freezing on contact, creating some icy surfaces. I don't think it's going to be a widespread problem for icy bridges and overpasses, but those will be the first to freeze if anywhere does freeze on the roads with moisture moving in. So we'll have to watch any elevated surface very closely over the next 12 to 15 hours. By the afternoon, skies clear. We'll see sunshine tomorrow afternoon. That'll help things melt. Whatever we see overnight, whether that's a wintry mix, a sleet, some snow flurries, that's still possible overnight. But whatever doesn't dry out tomorrow afternoon may refreeze Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So I would say the next couple of mornings a little difficult out on the roads. Just be careful if you are driving out anywhere in the next couple of days. Okay, outside right now it is a cloudy look. We are looking at cloudy skies, overcast conditions, and no rain just yet. There is a little bit of drizzle towards the south near Corpus Christi, but overall pretty quiet here in the area. Just cold, right? 31 at Timberwood Park, 33 at Bulverde, still below freezing at Bernie. They're at 28, 31 at Bandera, 32 at Stinson. So pretty cold out there this morning. We were down into the lower 20s in the hill country this morning. Even some upper teens reported in parts of Gillespie County at like 6 a.m. this morning. It was like down to 19. It was extremely cold. Take a look, 31 right now in the city, 28 at Bernie, 35 at Kennedy, and similar numbers across the board. Cold, cold, cold. Yeah, so that it is for the feels like temperatures. Take a look at that. It feels like the 20s out there. So if you're still indoors, if you're still inside right now, and you're planning to go outdoors this afternoon, just bundle up. I mean, like 3 or 4 layers. If you can, gloves, if you're going to be outside for a long amount of time. Do things and prepare to prep for the colder weather this afternoon, this evening. But that's a look at the feels like temperature. So let's talk more about the winter storm and what's happening. So Bexar County, San Antonio, Austin still included in a winter storm warning that will go into effect this evening at 6 o'clock and then expire 6 o'clock Tuesday evening. So about 12 to 24 hours of the potential at seeing freezing rain, some accumulation, some sleet, a wintry mix, and even possibly a few snow flurries in the area. I do want to say the big takeaway, before we get deep into detail, will be out towards Houston, east and southeast Texas, towards Louisiana. That's where they're expecting the bulk of all the snowfall that'll happen over the next 24 hours. Will San Antonio get some? Yeah, I think so. I think we'll see a light dusting if possible. We may even see upwards of 1 to 2 inches of snow. That'll be on the higher end. I think most of us see a tenth to maybe a quarter of an inch of snowfall, which is not a lot. It's not a lot, but it's still something. But most of the snow accumulation will be out east, and we'll show you the forecast guidance and the model accumulation forecast in just a second. Clouds and moisture came in much earlier than expected, so that means something. Yeah, John. A lot of our models were saying last night, I was here like at 10 o'clock last night doing the 10 p.m. news. A lot of the moisture from some of the high-res models were putting moisture over San Antonio as early as like 3 or 4 o'clock. So that might be the trend going forward. We'll just have to watch the mid to high levels very closely, just how much dry air aloft. That will have a huge contribution on if we see widespread flurries or if we just see a few snow flurries in the area late tonight into early tomorrow morning, pre-dawn hours. This is all going to happen mostly while everyone's asleep. But if you stay up until midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., if you do that, you will see probably a few areas of sleet and possibly a few snow flurries. Anywhere from here to Austin, and especially again out towards Houston, where they're expecting the bulk of snowfall, and especially towards western Louisiana. Matter of fact, this winter storm warning stretches all the way from the valley to Houston to Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. This is something you don't see very often. You see these warnings and these advisories from mostly like northern Texas, mostly towards the central and northern tier of the United States, where snowfall obviously is much more abundant. We don't see that often here. You don't really get winter storm warnings frequently here in south central Texas or in our area, in our region. But notice a lot of us are in pink, which is that winter storm warning from this evening until Tuesday evening as well. So let me show you what it looks like. Moisture drives in from the south. This is just one depiction on what it could look like by tonight at 10 o'clock. Take it with a grain of salt, because these boundaries, winter weather forecasting is so difficult because it just takes like 1 or 2 degrees to shift things from a cold rain to a sleet to a freezing rain to a snow flurry. It's just so complicated. And a lot goes on in winter weather forecasting. But again, this is just one opinion on what could happen by 10 p.m. tonight. Mostly a drizzle, a light rain in the area. That's most of it. And then by about 10 and 11 o'clock, and maybe as early as 8 p.m., this will start to convert and turn over to a freezing rain, a freezing drizzle, which is bad for elevated surfaces, bridges, overpasses. Those will freeze first. And also for power lines, for trees, on tree limbs, ice could accumulate and break those. We're not expecting a lot of accumulation, but anything that's still minimal on accumulating on ice and on roads can be a problem. Thankfully, crews were out there this weekend and today, treating the roads. That'll help. Putting sodium chloride, putting brine solution on the roads helps to mitigate the risk at seeing freezing surfaces. That definitely helps. So I think overall the roads will be fine tomorrow morning, but just avoid bridges, any surface that's up in the air, right? That can be a problem, any elevated surface in the area. Just because through this evening and tomorrow morning, this is what we could be looking at. Again, it starts off as a drizzle, a light rain, and then eventually through midnight, 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m., this will turn over into a wintry mix, maybe a snow flurry in the area between here, Bernie, Kerrville towards Austin. Mostly scattered snow flurries in the overnight between about midnight and 5 a.m. Now, again, this is all happening while you're asleep, because watch what happens by sunrise tomorrow. You may see, a light dusting on yards when you wake up tomorrow morning, on roads, so be very careful tomorrow morning. But by lunchtime tomorrow, clouds and rain move out, and then we're sunny, highs in the upper 30s, lower 40s. It's going to be cold and breezy tomorrow, just like today, but just with more sunshine during the afternoon. So primary threats are roads and bridges, and primarily in the overnight hours and early morning. So through about 8 and 9 a.m., that's when it could be bad. And then after about 10 and 11 tomorrow, things start to improve. All right, so it could snow in the coastal bend. Will it snow in the coastal bend? I think the coastal bend, so anywhere from like George West to Corpus Christi, probably maybe a sleet mix, but I think most of it will be, a freezing drizzle out near Corpus Christi and the Texas coast. So just a heads up on that. Clouds and moisture came in. Kamal has not said anything yet. We're still waiting on some of the school districts to make the call. Why are the GFS and Euro being aggressive? Well, you know what? The long range, the global models have been pretty consistent. They have been back and forth, but they have been aggressive since 5 days ago. And that's the cool thing about global forecasting, long-range forecasting, because we get into the high-res a lot, days leading up to the winter weather event, but the long-range models just paint out a very general sense on what could happen, and sometimes they can be very aggressive. So, yeah, that just happens with the GFS and the Euro very frequently, especially in winter weather forecasting. For Katie from New Braunfels, this is kind of what it looks like. Again, these numbers can fluctuate. This is just a forecast, so things will change a little bit. But, general forecast between Del Rio and the Hill Country, probably on average from 1/100th to 1/4 of an inch of snow. And there will be some areas out west that don't see much between Real County, Uvalde, Val Verde County. But the main takeaway, anywhere along the I-35 corridor and then pointing east towards LaGrange, towards Columbus, towards Houston, that's where we could see gradual snow accumulations pick up to 1 to 2 to 3 inches, where in some areas between Houston, Lake Charles up into Alexandria, there will be some areas between East Texas and Western Louisiana that may pick up 4 to 5 inches of snow. We'll have to watch it very closely. Now, this is good news. Last night, we were forecasting like 1/100th to 1/10 of an inch of ice accumulation. And while that still will be possible with freezing rain late tonight, tomorrow morning, it has trended down. However, again, just be careful. Avoid any bridge or overpass tomorrow morning. If you have to go out driving, some of those elevated surfaces will still be a little slick, with a couple of pockets of more heavier freezing rain towards Victoria, towards Port Lavaca, towards Bay City. Again, there will be a little bit of ice everywhere, but there will be some pockets south of I-10 that see a little bit more, especially towards the Texas Gulf Coast, and less towards Eagle Pass, Manny. Less snowfall for them as well. So again, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, maybe 1/10 of an inch of a light dusting of snow out west, but the farther east you go towards Houston, that's where snowfall amounts do pick up pretty rapidly in the area. Okay, here it is, the 14-day forecast. Tomorrow, 38 from a morning low of 26. Just a heads up, every night will be a hard freeze, so make sure you prepare the 4 Ps, right? People, pets, plants, and pipes. Wrap your pipes, insulate them, drip the faucets, just because of temperatures. Wednesday morning will be one of the coldest so far of the season so far. So 20 degrees for the overnight low Wednesday morning. That means probably mid to lower teens for Kerrville, Kerr County, Kendall County, towards Gillespie County. It is going to be very, very cold for the area. Pete, I'm not falling for it, man. 38 Tuesday, 47 Wednesday, 54 Thursday. Again, the overnights will be cold. Wednesday morning, 20 degrees. That means likely teens for the hill country. By the weekend, we recover. Friday, 60, 66 Saturday, 68 on Sunday. But again, between this evening, I would say after 7 p.m. through about 5 a.m. Tuesday morning is the highest chance we see some accumulation of ice, some snow flurries. Again, anywhere east of I-35 towards Houston, highest chance for snow amounts here in the area. On average, 1/10 to an inch of snowfall. Localized pockets, maybe a little bit more, but again, east towards Houston is where they're going to pick up a little bit more here in the area. Manny, thank you so much. There's a chance for snow in Eagle Pass. Yeah, there is a small chance, Manny. Yeah, Pete, I'm watching you, man. I'm watching you. 14-day forecast, guys, by Friday. We're sunny. We're clear. Highs in the 60s. There's 70 on Sunday, and then some cooler air by the back half of next week. But overall, these next 4 to 5 days will be the coldest for quite some time. And then gradually will trend warmer by the end of this weekend. All right, guys, have a wonderful Monday. Stay warm, be safe, avoid any unnecessary travel. Download the KENS 5 app. It is free in the App Store. We have several weather updates, push notifications from our weather team. Me, Bill Taylor, Paul Morellis, Jeremy Baker, Roxy will all provide updates in the next several days. And also, throughout the entire week and next week, with more updates to come on winter weather, rain chances, overnight freezes, details on that as well. But again, that's the forecast, guys. Be safe, stay warm, and we'll see you live on KENS 5 News at Noon in just a bit.